Musicians Talk Show is brought to you by Bandzoogle. Bandzoogle makes it easy to build a stunning website for your music in minutes. Choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes, then customize your design and content in a few clicks with Bandzoogle's easy visual editor. All the features you need for a professional website are already built in, including tools to sell your music and merch commission-free right on your website, mailing list tools to grow your fan list and send newsletters, integrations to pull in content from all your online services like Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud, and live support from their musician-friendly team 7 days a week. Bandzoogle plans start at just $8.29 a month and include your own free custom domain name. So go to bandzoogle.com to try it free for 30 days, and be sure to use the promo code TMTS to get 15% off your first year of your subscription. Okay, before we get started, Matt and I have lots of great ideas to improve the podcast, but we can't do it without you. So if you want to help us grow, click support the show at musicianstalkshow.com and consider signing up for our Patreon. We have tons of great perks and rewards for you, such as early guest reveals, a weekly live Q&A, and access to a monthly exclusive episode only for our patrons.
Sign up for our mailing list on our website to gain access to our private community on Discord. There you can communicate with Dallas and I directly about all things TMTS. You can also follow at Musicians Talk Show on Instagram to discover new episodes, vote in polls, and join the conversation.
Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Hey. It is episode 63 of the Musicians Talk Show podcast. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Dallas DeWhite.
Yo, I'm Matt the Mud Puddle Rat. I just thought that'd be funny to say.
Tell me, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. We're out here on the beautiful day. Rain
we're
has
podcasting
cleared.
Outside, dude.
Yeah, dude, I like it.
dope.
There's a fountain.
We got a fountain.
Moe's.
We got families eating Moe's. Yeah, you eating Moe's.
Yeah, it's gotten more crowded now. We were out here alone. Now there's families.
Yeah, now there's families, so we have to say fuck extra loud. But tell me about
the Mud Puddle Rat thing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. All right, this is funny. When I was a kid, I was like kind of a little
a little rascal.
I was a shithead, yeah. I was like one of those kids that just got into every ton of trouble there was. Like I had no boundaries.
I was not.
I don't know if I was dumb or what happened, but I was really young.
Yes.
And yes, so I would run around and I had like my shoes untied and shit like that. I was like a maniac. And whenever there was a puddle in the street, like a pothole full of water in Florida, is where I grew up, I would jump in it and get totally soaked. And I'd be like, I'd be riding with my mom. It was always like, it was funny because it was always when I went to visit my dad while he's at work, because we did that a lot back then. Like my mom would just take me to go visit my dad at work at the mechanic shop. And there's fucking puddles everywhere, and I would always find them and jump in them and get fucking covered. And my dad was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I don't know if it was him that coined it or if somebody he worked with said, they called me Matt the Mud Puddle Rat. And I don't know, it was just that way forever.
Henceforth, you are forever known as Matt the Mud Puddle Rat.
I'll take it. I
love it. That's such a cute story from such a cute man.
It was a cute nickname. My dad called me that for years.
Cute man is a
probably
weird
get a kick
combo
out of hearing
words.
that.
Yeah, I bet he would.
Because we haven't talked about it in forever.
Does he listen to the show?
I'll send him.
I don't even know that my family knows I have a podcast. It's probably better that way.
It's that
honestly.
way, yeah. It's that way for a good reason.
So it's a beautiful day. We were worried it might rain, and we have some cloud cover. It's actually beat the heat down a little bit.
I
It's
think
nice
we're gonna be all right.
So you guys can probably hear some nice ambience, however you say it, behind us. We got fountain water.
Tomato.
Music in the distance. We got cars. Dude.
I'm going to check the weather right now to make sure.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
We're good. We're real good.
We've put together, nice, 73 and sunny, dude.
Beautiful.
You couldn't ask for better. So we were going to record just in the studio like normal, but we were sitting there working on the concept album, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, let's go outside. Let's go do this outside.
Perfect.
So we just drove up the road.
That was a good call.
And you wanted food anyway.
Yeah.
So I would have eaten as well, but I just
And I was out of beer.
You were out of beer. Yep. You're 12 beers in, needed that 13th. Needed
over-exaggerating
that 13th beer.
Over-exaggerating it for sure. It was 14.
Multiplying it by 6, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on my third beer. Well, the first two were tall
Matt's
boys.
drinking beer.
So.
What are you drinking?
Yeah, what are you guys drinking?
No, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking Budweiser.
Oh, gross.
Bud Heavies.
I'm drinking Fiji water. So
nice.
700 milliliters, dude. This is how hydrated I was this morning. So I got up early for church. It's Sunday because I run the thing.
Was there a big Mother's Day thing?
It was packed, dude.
Okay.
We moved to the gym. So we used to do it in like the youth center, but we outgrew it. So we moved to the gym, which can hold we set out like 300-ish chairs. Dude, it was packed. It was like full.
Okay, so how hydrated were you? Sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
Dude, I drank 2 full liters of water before 8 a.m.
What are you doing? What are you preparing for? A run? You gonna go for like a run across the country?
Not how you want to prepare for one and run, I'm pretty sure.
No, probably have to stop
no,
too
I'm
many
just trying
times and
to.
pee.
I was doing some research on hydration, and I realized even as much water as I drink is not near enough. Dude, you know you're supposed to drink roughly 1 ounce per pound of body weight you weigh.
Oh, wow.
So if you weigh 160, you got to drink roughly a little under 1.5 gallons a day.
That's crazy.
So like
I'm not even
most people are
close.
not anywhere near that.
I barely
dude.
even touch water.
Now you can also go down like the range is somewhere between a half ounce and an ounce. So you could drink 80 if you weighed 160.
Okay.
80 ounces a
Okay.
day, whatever.
No, let me ask you this: how much is absorbed through your skin when you take showers? Because that's, I think, how much water I'm getting. Whatever that is. Yeah, whatever that is, that's what I'm drinking.
Do you not drink water really ever?
I mean,
For real?
every once in a while, like if it's like if I'm feeling.
Duff
like,
told this story. He said, and it's widely known. It's in his book. He said the whole time he was fucked up on drugs and alcohol, drinking the half gallon of vodka a day and all that stuff. He didn't drink water for like 10 years. He didn't have a sip of water.
That's crazy.
And he
I
said,
can see how it
and
happens.
He said his
though.
body was just, first of all, how resilient is the human body?
It's
like,
resilient. It really is. It's
obviously
crazy.
he's getting hydration.
And you
he's
know
not,
what the thing? The thing that's
thirsting to
crazy
death,
about
but-
the human body, just real quick, I'll say that is when you put it through hell, it gets good at going through hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's really adaptive, dude. It really does. Like it'll get you through. But
Conversely,
here's
if you
the-
eat really healthy for a week and then eat a cheeseburger, you feel so bad.
Yeah, yeah,
you feel
exactly.
the worst.
It gets adaptive. It really does like expect what's coming next. So that's the thing about condition. Like you get good at condition. Like now we can't even handle it when it gets really hot out here because we're,
Did you listen
used to AC.
to the latest Segura podcast?
Your mom's house.
Yeah, he had someone on, I don't remember, and then he also had Heath Evans. Have you heard of him? He's a football player.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's
I do
it's
watch
the most
a lot
recent
of it.
one, but Heath Evans was a professional football player.
Yeah.
And Tom played in high school, and they played against each other in high school. They were in the same area, and Heath obviously went on to become a professional. He played in the NFL
Yes.
for 10 years or something.
Yes.
And dude, he was talking all about health, fitness, working out, and dude, it was just like one of the most inspiring chats I've ever heard. And
Okay.
you never really get that on your mom's house.
No,
It's always
yeah,
kind
I
of
know.
goofy.
That's it,
But you got to listen to it. It's
Okay,
cool.
I'll check it
and he
out.
also seemed just like so nice
Yeah,
and cool.
I'm sure I would have
also-
seen it even if you didn't say it.
I saw him on Instagram, added him on Instagram. The dude is, first of all, he's like 260 pounds. He's like 6 something.
Uh-huh.
And the dude literally has like an 8-pack. That's how shredded he is. At 260.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy has like, he looks like the Hulk.
That's crazy. That's a hell of a body. I don't think I'll ever have that. I can't put on weight, but I do understand the need for drinking water. Like it's not that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I never find myself drinking water because I know that it's not going to give me energy. So like I usually drink like a Coke or drink some kind of caffeinated energy drink. Like
That gives
something.
me anxiety listening to you talk about this.
Yeah.
Because I drink a lot of water, as anyone who's around me for any amount of time can testify to or
I
attest
know.
to.
And I've gone through phases where I drank a lot of water. Like it's not
Yeah.
like I've never drank water. Like I was a beach kid, like a beach bum, so we drank
Yeah.
water. Like it was
Yeah.
never like. But
Salt water, yeah, that explains a lot.
nowadays, I find myself just reaching for a caffeinated drink to stay awake because I have
Okay.
so much trouble being awake all the
You've
time.
probably definitely developed some sort of dependency, in my professional opinion, as a health
yeah,
expert.
probably. I think I'm addicted to caffeine.
So
for
if you
sure.
stop drinking it, you get headaches and shit. Like if you don't have a morning coffee or whatever.
If it goes a
your thing
long
is.
time, if I stop drinking, like if I decide I'm
You
off
drink coffee,
sodas, not as much, but I do drink it every once in a while. I like coffee.
This right here, for all the podcast listeners, you can't see, but this is my
Rehab.
drink. It's the Monster Rehab tea plus lemonade. It's the yellow one. Dude, they're delicious, and it's like 20 calories.
I think I need a different kind of rehab.
Of course, it's all chemicals.
Just
but,
kidding.
Just
Just joking about that
You,
rehab.
you can't always win. Like,
Yeah.
I drink pretty much all water and like these. So
Nice.
I
That's
also
all
like
right.
tea.
At
Do you
least
like
you drink
tea?
enough water. At least it dilutes it, right? I don't like tea as much. I do. I've
Wait,
had
did you
it.
say you like coffee? I didn't hear what you
I
said.
do like it every
You do
once
like
in a
it?
while.
You
I
just
don't
it's
drink it
not
every
your thing?
morning.
Yeah.
I don't drink it every morning, but I'll drink it on the
See,
weekends.
I don't like coffee. I don't like most soda. Occasionally, I'll have a Dr. Pepper.
It's probably good. It's probably a good thing.
I pretty much only drink water for
you
real.
know, like
I
Dave
like coconut
Grohl's
water.
addicted to coffee, right? Like he's
Dude, so many
he's
people are.
always
So
yeah.
many
There's a
people
lot
are.
of people.
I can't stand the taste. I do like the smell.
Yeah.
I can't stand the taste, and I hate what it does to like my breath and like my pee.
Yeah, I hate
you
what it
know?
does to my breath
It's
as
just
well.
Like, oh,
That's
dude,
something that I-
How do you do this every morning and like then go about your day talking to people? Like,
Yeah.
I can't even hear myself talk because the air coming out by my nose just makes me want to throw up.
Oh damn! You can't smell yourself talk. It's too much.
Did you ever think you'd say that sentence?
No, that's a weird one.
Yeah,
huh?
dude, I can't smell myself talk.
Oh, I can't stand to smell myself talk. That's good.
So we were working on the concept album today. We were laying down some vocals. We were laying down layers. We were laying down growls. Give me an example of a growl.
Ooh, Put some compression on that.
I love it.
After
We were
Effects. Nah,
letting-
it's terrible. My voice is shot because I just did a whole bunch of it.
Screaming and yelling.
And now I'm my 12th beer in, so 13th beer.
15th beer in. Matt's
15, whatever it
drank
is.
24 beers today. It's pretty cool.
That's good.
The running joke, I don't know that we ever talked about it. We talked about it on the 24
when we did the
hour EP
24-hour
podcast.
EP, I think, right?
Yeah, but the
something
running
like
joke
that.
was every time Matt bought like a 6-pack of beer to
Right.
last 24 hours, which is not unreasonable.
No,
and
not at all.
I just kept joking. Every time he grabbed one, I would just increase the number exponentially.
Yeah,
it went
it was
from like, oh, that's
hilarious.
your second beer to like, oh, that's your 8th beer. Oh, that's your 32nd beer.
It was so funny.
By the end of the night, it was like 600.
Yeah, it was like, wait a minute. There's only one. There's only
Yeah.
one 6-pack of beers in there, so I don't
The
know
most
how
you have is 6. I don't
the
know why.
story just gets escalated.
Yeah. So
funny.
that's only funny if you were there, obviously.
Well, we've shared that on the podcast several
yeah.
times. It's funny. I think it's funny.
So concept album progress. How are you feeling? You listened to
I thought we were gonna get more done today, but I guess I underestimated the longevity of my vocal.
dude, when you record vocals with me, we go deep.
we go deep, and you had lots
You,
of
you
ideas.
think like, oh, we'll record the verse, but it's like, wait a second, we're gonna record the verse, we're gonna double it
Double
twice,
it,
we're
put
gonna
the
add the whisper, we're gonna add the
harmony,
growl,
right.
we're gonna add this harmony. It's
Yeah.
like pretty soon you've sang the same line 30 times.
But it's so worth
like,
it,
you
man.
know.
How awesome it's sounding, and I think I need some more lyrics. There's
We're
some,
kind of mixing as we go,
Yeah.
which is fun.
It's fun.
And what that means is it ends up sounding pretty good as we go along.
Yes.
because like demos
The
can
demo's
sometimes
gonna be
sound real
good.
rough,
Of course.
but these are actually sounding good, and it also cuts down on the time when it's time to actually mix. I can just,
I think
basically done.
demos are limited by your ability of what you have, like your equipment. Like
That's
if you
true,
have
like-
an awesome, like
yeah.
you already have Pro Tools, and you have like
We already have everything we're
Kemper,
gonna use to
you have,
mix,
Right, you have
so,
all these
yeah.
things, and like and all these plugins. You're able to get a demo really close. If you don't know how to use Pro Tools, then your demo sounds different. It's a totally different ballgame. You're probably
good point.
talking iPhone recording.
I'll show you some of my old demos that'll
I
prove
have some
that.
old, I have some old demos that are the same way. But it's okay because they still do the job. But when you have a demo that's closer, sometimes like you end up having trouble emulating how good the demo sounded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that demo is like, oh shit, that little piano we used actually sounded like perfect.
That's exactly what we needed, and they talked about that in the A7X breakdowns.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He was saying like, yeah, where did this come from? We just kept it from the demo, I think. You know, it's
Exactly.
kind of like some things
right,
just
that's
work.
right.
Oh, he was talking about the little toy keyboard he had
in Nightmare
on the Glockenspiel
on
sound.
Nightmare,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's right.
One of the sounds was from like a toy keyboard he had
Yeah.
at his house or something. I don't know.
And it did the
In
perfect
Shadow,
tone.
yeah.
Like whatever, the tone worked.
or you just become attached to it that you don't like anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if you're
Which
so
means it's also
attached-
right. Yeah, but
exactly.
like that's
what
probably
I was
more
gonna say.
likely.
That's all I was gonna say. So yeah, but that's perfect. But anyway, so yeah,
there may be a
so our
objectively
demo's gonna
better
sound
sound of a Glockenspiel.
yeah.
but it
So
might
our
not
demo
work,
is
you know?
gonna sound great. And
Our demo,
gonna-
we're kind of building the full thing. We're not really demoing. You know what
well,
I mean?
you're not mixing it, so I'm considering the unmixed version. Like you're not.
It's
fully
pretty close,
mixing.
though.
It's close, but you're not
I would say
fully
it's probably
mixing
like
it.
75.
When you go through with a fine-tooth comb and you get all the transitions just right and all that
Yeah.
stuff, like that'll be like the finished version. So our demo is gonna be really close. I would only say the demo is just what we get when we're done writing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I just need some more.
We
lyrics,
added
a little bit more
a
content.
beautiful piano part
Yeah,
that was
that
giving
worked
me and
out
you
so
shivers.
perfect. That worked out.
We were
so
sitting there
perfect.
and we had it turned super loud, and I was playing this really gentle piano part, and we had this really creepy effect that I found.
And all- the
that ended up
whistling part?
and you were whistling over it,
Yeah.
and it ended up sounding really cool.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome.
There's so many
I'm
weird
stoked
things
to get that
in
first
this.
song out. How long do you
Yeah.
think? What do you, if you had to put a time on
It
it
just
now?
depends on when we finish vocals. And once that's done, we
the
can
lyrics.
pretty much
The lyrics are really. I think we've got the melody ideas for every part now and how it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna like go. The direction it's gonna go.
Yep.
We just need the lyrics to finish it and make sure all those are just right. But it's so cool because it's setting up. There's all these little tiny details that are gonna play out later in the concept album that we've already planned.
Yeah,
Which is
think
which is
about
the
it
idea.
as I'm thinking about it, and I would encourage others to think about it this way: is like we're writing a season of TV,
Yeah.
and each
It's gotta
song is its
resolve.
episode.
It's got to
you know,
right. It's
so
got to
kind
get
of
to
tells a
somewhere.
story throughout.
Right.
So
It really is that way.
Yeah.
Almost like one of our favorite shows is Game of Thrones, which we haven't talked too much about. We talked about it on Discord a
little
little
bit
bit
last week. We talked
Yep.
about it.
I think on Discord only though. We don't think we
A little bit on the
we
show.
did talk it on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So
Big episode tonight.
but the way they build up and the way they transition and where they choose to start and stop episodes and how, you know what I
Yep.
mean, where they leave you kind of is really interesting. Almost
Yep.
like a novel, chapters
yeah.
in a novel.
Oh yeah. You could look at it.
I mean, obviously, Game of Thrones
acts
was
in
a
a movie,
book.
you know, whatever.
Game of Thrones was a series of books.
is a series.
Is a series of books. Still not yet, really. Still
yeah.
not done.
Good point.
It's half a series of books. No, I'm just kidding.
never
Just
read
giving
them.
George R. R. Martin a fucking shit.
He's a big fan of the show. So
Yeah, you know, he listens all
listens
the
to every
time.
episode.
He's in the Discord. He misses me.
Hey, what's up,
sometimes.
guys? George R. R. Martin.
I heard you talk about the
really,
Game of
really
Thrones.
happy about the last episode. Feel like he could have shit on me a little less though.
Dude, totally.
So, but also we have we're naming the songs kind of like song 1, song 2, song 3 as we go through.
Right.
And we have a private document between us that kind of details what we want each song to
Which I think is
center
really
around.
important if you're talking about a long-term goal you're trying to get to, or
Yeah.
tell a long-term story.
Yeah, so we have to have the whole story in mind,
Yeah.
and then we can write song 5. you know?
Yeah.
So that's actually what we did. I had a riff that I liked, and it kind of had a vibe to me, and it fit one of the vibe I thought it had fit
Yep.
one of the descriptions.
Yep.
And that ended up being for song 5. So I kind of demoed that out and then sent
I think
it to
that's
you.
the way to do it, because you can get a good idea, and it might necessarily not be the one you need for the song you're trying to write, but you should always like think about other songs you're trying to write too. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
but I do need a song like this for this.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things, like writing out the whole plan and ahead of time can really pay off. You know?
I have an app on my iPhone called Music Memos, and everyone should get it.
Yes,
First of all,
yes.
what I love about it is it's dead simple. You open it, and it's one button that records. That's
Yes.
it. And you can get into the folders and stuff later, but a lot of times when you have an idea, you need to record it right then.
Yes.
You can't be going here and then create new and then title it, and then by the time you're done and you're ready to hit record, it's gone. So this, you just hit record.
Yep.
I can't tell you, every week, almost every lesson,
I know it.
I'll be doodling around while waiting on my students to get set up.
Yep.
Come up with a riff, record it real quick. Dude, I have probably 30, 40 of them in there, and I name them like concept album, breakdown, like whatever
Yeah.
I think I can use
Yep.
it for.
Yep.
And then sometimes
guarantee
when I'm
you-
dry on inspiration, I'll go back and be like, oh, this is good.
Sure, exactly. And there's tons of ideas in there. I guarantee you, I do this, and I didn't know about music memos for a while. I use the voice memos on iPhone. I guarantee you
It's pretty
tons of
much the
people
same
use
thing,
that. But I
Music memos, why I like it better than the voice
I know
memos, is
there's
made
benefits
for musicians.
Yes.
And one thing they do is it'll detect your timing and what chords you're playing.
You could put drums,
and you can
put,
click drums and bass.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of times it's not even close. But sometimes it is. And
Sometimes
it
it
can give you an
works, and
idea
when it
like,
works,
oh, this is
it maybe
cool.
inspires you a little bit more.
One
yeah.
thing that is not intended but actually ends up working well is if it miscalculates where you start and you turn on the drums, it'll play a beat that you did not ever hear. And sometimes it's really cool.
works out
like,
anyways.
like where you think the 1 is, they'll put the 3 there. So you're like,
you
oh,
get
this is
some
totally
crazy-
backwards, but it sounds cool. Like,
But maybe they
Yeah.
heard that. You know, that's the thing about music is it is like just super, like anything can work. You just have to
Yeah.
find out what it is. Like
Yeah.
you just have to try things out and you go, oh, if that feels good or that sounds awesome, like you just go with that. Or you could say, no, I don't want to do that. Try something totally different. Like there's so many different options.
Yep.
It's so weird. Like I forget about that sometimes. That we were going to talk about songwriting a little bit today. I guess we should we go into that now, or do you want to?
yeah, we had a question on our Discord. Let me read it. Becca, our good friend Becca, said,
Yeah, this transitions perfectly.
when you write music, do you jam and memorize, or do you actually notate? Meaning, actually write everything out.
Right.
And she asked, what's common for bands to do? So Becca, as you know, comes from the classical world and the band world, as in like marching band and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
Orchestras, that kind of thing. So it's very different than
Sure.
the pop rock world.
Sure. And,
So-
and I don't even think it's genre specific, but yes, like there are some things that are specific.
Basically,
like country.
music is broken into 2 categories: classical and pop. So everything else is rock, metal, all that's under pop. Because
What about country?
Pop. It's all under
Okay.
not classical.
Okay,
is what
I
it
see
is.
what you mean.
Like-
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Because
that
even
makes-
when you register music with BMI,
Yes,
there's a question:
that's-
is this music classical or not?
Right.
And that's your 2 options.
Exactly.
Like, so it's like everything's under the umbrella of popular
yeah,
music.
that's funny
What's
that you brought
popular
up the
now?
BMI because I don't think ASCAP has anything like that. Or I mean, maybe I'm
They'll
forgetting.
make sure that
There's
it's
some
not a
genre, but I
classical
don't think
piece.
it's classical or not. But that's interesting that BMI does that because I don't know that side of it. You use BMI. I use
We think
ASCAP.
of pop as like Justin Timberlake, but pop just literally means popular.
Yeah. So,
not
anyways,
classical.
so to jam and notate, or do you? What was the other option that she was?
do you jam and memorize, or do you notate?
I jam and memorize. That's my thing. But I do notate some things. I notate parts, like when the verse comes, when the next chorus comes.
arrangements.
Arrangements,
Yeah.
exactly. Notate arrangements. But I don't notate every note because I don't need to. I can remember riffs.
the short
I can
answer is
remember
not.
parts.
I sometimes get questions about songwriting and.
But hey,
stuff like
this is
that.
not what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is for everybody, obviously. I'm just saying this is what I do, my personal
Yeah.
method. And I was going to talk about more about the other processes.
But
too.
I think the short answer is it changes all the time.
it does.
Like if I write a really weird riff, I'll probably notate it out. Although not so much anymore because I can kind of remember it.
Yes.
Or I forget it because I use music
wanna
memos
know-
or something like that. So I'll record it real quick and then I'll just unload it from my brain.
You wanna
and then
know
when I
something
need it,
funny I
I'll
heard?
remember it and hear it. And
Exactly. You want to know something funny I heard one time? I don't remember who it was. I really wish I could. But it was a famous guitar player, like had made it and everything, right? Rock band, something like that. And he said, "Well, I don't really try to write them down because he says if I remember it, then that means it's good. Like that means
Yeah.
like if it works out and like I keep playing it and I keep like every time I pick up my guitar I play that riff, then it's a good riff. Like it's
There's something to that, but also that's
and then he
kind
says, if I forget it, though, then it wasn't worth it. But here's the thing. I don't believe that totally. I'm not, like, saying that that's the way to go because I
Yeah.
think there's some stuff that I've forgotten that I know was good, and I just can't get it
Yeah.
back in my head. Like, just some stuff
But
passes
also,
by.
you might You might write something today that you think sucks, catalog it anyway, or if it sucks, you're probably not going to do it. But you like it, but maybe not quite.
Maybe you do record it right.
But, 3 years from now, that might be exactly what you're looking for.
Exactly.
You might as well have it.
Taste change. You evolve as a player.
It's too easy to just write it down
You're
or
right.
record it.
Recording is that's
recording
the thing.
is
Just
is
record
kind
it.
of notating.
It's the way to go now. Yeah, it's the way to go.
Very rarely will I put pen to paper.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to get staff and all that. Like,
If
what are
I
you gonna
have
do?
something, well, I have a book that's literally called The Big Slab
Still,
of
though.
Tab.
Still,
it's like
though.
700 pages of tab paper.
Yeah, but are you just going to do that though? Are you going to tab
Well,
it
I
all
have it
out?
for all my students,
It's so
so it's-
slow, like you can record
Sometimes
it
you
so
get fast
easy
at it, but yeah, you can record it too. So that's the biggest thing, the fastest way usually.
Yeah. You want to know something too about the writing process? It's funny that I just recently my brother had texted me about this song, or he just texts me lyrics sometimes of stuff he likes, and he texted me some lyrics of The Bronx, and he was listening to Knife Man, which guess who produced that? Machine. Yeah, Machine produced Knife Man.
Did he produce it or mix it or both?
Mixed it. I think he mixed it. I might be. Yeah, sorry, I said that wrong.
I think he was
it.
involved in the production of that.
Probably
I think,
was.
He did the tracking.
Probably
and
was.
stuff
I don't want to speak on that.
Undecided,
credit.
but
Yeah.
he definitely mixed it.
Exactly. So, but one of the cool things about how that song was written was the guitar player said that the guitar player and the drummer were jamming, and they decided that we're gonna try something different. The guitar player says, I'm gonna be the drums. I'm gonna be the percussive element and the rhythm in that, like the straight, and then the drums are gonna do the fancy
melody.
work on top and the little detailed kind of like. And if you listen to that song, the way it starts is so that's all he's doing is like almost like a roll in and then a thing, and then the drummer is doing the it's like crazy
That's
work.
interesting.
And it is a cool
I
idea.
like that they flipped it in a cool way.
Exactly, and it's what I was going to say, that the thing is cool about it is it doesn't matter what you do, just try to do something, try something different, because it might not have worked, right? But as long as they're listening to it and they say, I don't like it, then that's fine. Then it didn't work, right? There's nothing to lose there. But why not try wacky shit? Like, try anything that pops in your little head. You know what I mean? Like, it could be inspiring to try just a completely different end of it. So if you're trying to. Obviously, Becca was talking more about like how to remember a song and how to like get one down. But like, I just think that there's so like anything that works for you. Like, you really have to just keep
That's a
it
good point.
an open mind.
One thing I'll bring up is you can literally only memorize so much. So if you are trying to write music, like at some point you're going to have to dump. You're going to have to write it down, record it, something to make room for new stuff. Because there's no way you're going to write
not gonna remember
100
100
riffs
songs.
and remember all 100 of them.
No,
like,
you're not gonna.
So I mean, it's usually safer.
So if your bank's full and you come up
record
with a great riff, guess what? You're not going to remember it unless
Or one of
you
them's
mush.
gone.
Yeah, one of them's
Yeah.
going to go. Right.
Yeah.
You take one in favor of another.
And then she kind of had a two-part question. The second part was what's common for bands to do. I would say it's very uncommon for bands to write it down.
Me too.
Physically, pen to paper.
Especially rock bands. Depends on what kind of band, I guess. But rock bands, I would say most likely not. Maybe progressive bands, like progressive metal bands, I know write songs in Guitar
For
Pro.
sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
I
That's
know
a good point.
that.
August Burns Red, drummer's Matt Greiner. He writes all of his parts, not even on the drum kit. He writes them in Guitar Pro himself.
Local band
and then
Winners
he goes
Gate.
back and learns them.
Local band Winners Gate does that.
Yep.
I saw something
That's
on their
actually a good point.
Instagram
So a lot
page.
of progressive metal, a lot of really difficult stuff.
Depends on what kind of music it is.
Because it's damn near impossible to work that stuff out in a room.
And like remembering all the scales and all the notes and everything, like you can write it down and it's like, I know I want this scale. What's the exact note here or whatever? I don't know. Maybe I'm not that in that band. So
one
for
of
me,
the
it's just
ways
speculation.
that I write is I record a lot, as everyone knows.
Right.
But I write at my studio, so I'll just sit there and
Like we're
write.
doing
I'll
the
add a drum
concept
beat. I'll
record.
write a drum beat. I'll write the guitar part. I'll write the bass part. I'll do all this stuff, and then I send it out to the band, and then from there they take it and make it their own a little bit.
Exactly. They take the idea and they go,
But
this
I
is
kinda
cool.
get
But
the
the
whole
drummer
idea
might have
out,
his own idea of like, but this is good, Dallas. But then this, you know.
Some things I'm like, this is exactly how I want it. Like because there's a really cool a couple cool drum fills I wrote that I wanted very specific.
Yeah.
And Foz nailed them. Like the Peace of Mind fill,
well,
the
that's
all
the
on the
stuff you
snare.
just
like,
you notate. You say, hey, I like this right here. Do this.
Or like this idea.
Exactly.
Because
that's what I'm saying.
Like
That's what I'm saying. Though you just tell them specific things. Like if this is like, do whatever you want on the rest of it. This part right here, I want you to do just like that.
Yeah.
And this part I want you to do like just like that. And that generally works out because they get it. Like, okay, this is what he wants, but if I can come up with something better than it,
right? Yeah. And it always sounds better when a human touches it.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's actually probably the most
good way
common
to
way I
write
write
is-
music is I'll write and then send to everybody and then we take it from
So
there.
yeah, easy drummer.
So it's always technically notated in a way because you can always
people
refer
who
back
can't
to
drum.
it.
I know you use more advanced drum software than this, but Easy Drummer is a great tool that I use to write several songs. Like just a great way to get like, okay, do I need a fast beat here? Do I need a double time beat here? What do I need?
And all of them come pre-programmed with grooves.
Yeah,
You
don't
so
have
you
to
can
be a
go
drummer.
like pop 4/4. The tempo might say 92. Well, your song's at 98, so that's pretty close.
Yeah,
So let me drag that one in.
So that you're not
You know,
stretching
like-
the thing. If it's
Yeah.
like if it was made to be played 92 beats per minute, you're not going to want to put it at 180 because
then like
it's gonna get crazy.
It's crazy because it's funny. The beat is supposed to sound like doon ga doon doon ga,
Yeah.
and you put it 180, it's doon ga doon doon ga.
yeah, it sounds like change the beat.
It sounds
it's like
super
a different
fake.
thing.
So you want to try to
the
stick
swing.
to that.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
can
it's
go
in there,
close,
but-
like anywhere within 10, 15, 20 beats per minute. You're fine.
But that is such an amazing tool. Like, I'm glad we got onto the subject because I didn't even realize how much I used that. Like, just having I use Logic on
I know
on my laptop.
almost every drum thing that's out there.
Yeah. And that's the thing is they make really good ones. So if you get really into it, like Superior, like name some of
Superior
them.
Drummer just came out with 3, which is
Yeah.
supposed to be extremely
good-
good.
yeah, the new
it's also
badass one.
extremely priced good. Like
Sure,
it's like
sure.
$300-400 bucks.
Do you get a discount though for having the old one, right?
You can cross grade or
Yeah.
upgrade, yeah, for sure. Easy Drummer's kind of the baby. Superior Drummer's the
Yeah.
big Mac Daddy.
Yeah.
And then of course you have Steven Slate
Are they
drums,
still
which I
on
use.
2 for Easy Drummer? They're on Easy
don't
Drummer
know.
2. That's one I
think
have.
That's kind of recent. Yeah,
great. It's great.
I had
It
the
works
very
awesome.
first one, and I couldn't ever figure out how to work because I was like 12. So
Yeah. I had the
I was
first one,
probably
but it wasn't
15,
that long
but
ago. Yeah, that's a great way to write songs because then you have like something to work off of. You have a tempo, you have a time.
Easy
you have
Drummer is perfect for songwriters, and it's marketed to songwriters because it really is
course.
easy.
That's what it's for. And the easy pianos, they have easy keys. They have
Easy keys, that's what we were using
So what else
for
do they
song
have?
stuff.
They have all kinds of different things that you can use. Just a quick
They have
little
another one called
plug-in
Easy Mix.
that you don't have to know how to do this thing, whatever it is, right? You need
basically
you need
it's so
that
you
done,
don't get
though.
bogged down in details. Like, oh, what
Exactly.
setting should this compressor be at? No,
Exactly.
just put on
It's not
the
gonna
like
slow you down.
Put on the sparkly acoustic preset from Easy Mix,
And
all
the
of a
nice
sudden
thing
it
is
sounds great.
it's
you
just
know?
all about the wording of it, right? Like they label it something that's going to be like, oh, that's what I'm looking for. Am I looking for this
Exactly.
gloomy
like
keyboard
brutal
sound?
snare. And
Right.
you're like, perfect. That's exactly what I need.
Exactly.
Or
So
you
then
know,
go-
like pop snare, old Zepp snare, like the Led Zeppelin sound, like
Yeah.
with the big boomy kick drum
Yeah.
that's not muted at all, just goes. Poof.
So think about how useful that is, because that's the same as like a singer going into band practice and going, man, I'm looking for that Led Zeppelin sound, right? And
Yeah.
the drummer has to figure out what Led Zeppelin sound is. But now you have this catalog of these drum beats and piano parts and whatnot, right? Like they
Yep.
even have easy guitar too, don't they? Have to have easy everything.
I don't know about easy guitar.
like rhythms and chord progressions. I feel like they do that.
They have a one VST that I have called Strummed Acoustic.
Okay.
Which I use a lot.
Okay, and you just pick the chords and rhythm.
You pick
and
the chords, and they have a bunch of different strum patterns in there, and they have a 6-string and a 12-string with a bunch of different presets. And I use it all the time, dude.
see how
Mostly
good that
because it
is.
sounds so good.
I bet.
If I need something very specific, I'll record it myself.
Yeah.
If I just need a basic strum pattern to like beef up a song kind of in the background, I'll absolutely use that because nothing sounds as good as that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Dude, they recorded it with like this ridiculous like $30,000 microphone system with like
Right.
18 microphones.
So you're getting
like,
the studio
it's like,
effect.
there's
too. You're not
no
only
way I can
getting
do that.
just
Like-
the instrument. You're getting like literally it recorded in the best circumstances.
Yep. Same with the drums.
Exactly.
In any of those drum
Exactly.
softwares.
And that's why everything sounds so good. I remember when I first started making demos like that, everybody was so blown away. They were like, wait,
Yeah.
like this is, and you know, now I know definitely I hear a big difference. But back then,
Yeah.
I know that like people,
Well, most
like,
people don't.
they don't hear a big difference. They don't understand like,
Yep.
like you can maybe hear that it sounds a little bit robotic-y. Like you can hear that a
if your
little.
drums sound good, your recording sounds good.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
very little you can do to
Exactly.
really. I mean, unless you make some real big mistakes,
Yeah.
if your drums sound good, your whole thing's gonna sound
Yeah.
good.
So there you go. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that the writing process can happen. I mean, you do whatever works for you, though, is the best advice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to give it to a bunch of musicians, I can see in an orchestral type environment, you're trying to get all these musicians to play
That
the right parts.
has to be notated.
You have to be notated.
Or,
You have to
orchestral musicians are very different. They don't. Most of them, I won't speak with a blanket term, but the ones I know, and I work with people that have played in like the Charlotte Symphony and the New York Boston
Right,
Pops,
right.
all that shit. They don't like improvisation. I had a French horn player come over, and I was like, "Yeah, I was thinking something like this." He had the notation, of course, and I was like, "But if you think of something better, if you want to, rip something out, give it a shot." And he was like, "Nope, not
I'm
doing
gonna
that.
do what's
I'm
on
gonna
the
play what you
paper."
told me
Yeah.
because this isn't really an instrument you can improvise on." And we have kind of an agreement. And I work with violinists and French horn guy most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the agreement is like, me as a composer, I don't work with these musicians a lot, so I'm counting on you guys to tell me, is this normally how it goes?
Right.
What do you
so you
need
just
from
want
me?
you
That
want to
kind of
make
stuff.
sure that everything seems like the right way
Yeah.
at least.
And
like
I'm learning. I want to learn.
Of course.
Like, hey, what do you do when you
You don't
record?
right.
Like,
You're not recording a French horn
One
player all
thing
the
I
time.
learned
Now
is,
you might be.
is
But
they work a lot better with a conductor, and they don't do as well with click tracks. Some of them, most of them can, some of them can't.
So they just wanna
it's
hear the
kind of
music
an LA
and
thing to
play
show
right
up
to the
and record
music?
a click track, but they need a conductor to show them. Like, and it was kind of my
Oh,
fault.
right.
I gave him a piece that was in 13/8.
Ooh.
It was just
Man,
pretty
that's a
brutal.
rough one.
And and they were having trouble seeing the divisions. So looking back on it, and I got some counsel
Yeah.
from one of my professors about it, and he said I probably should have done 6-8 and 7-8. So just alternating bars, 6-8, 7-8, 6-8, 7-8, 6-8.
Oh, that's
Because it's
good.
much easier to see where the divisions
Yeah.
are. 13-8, dude, it was all 16.
Yeah,
the bar was like that
long bar.
long.
Yeah.
It's like a foot long. Like it
Yeah.
took up the whole page.
Yeah,
But yeah,
well,
so if you're
that's
doing that
stuff
thing,
that you learn though too, and that's like you always want to have their feedback. So it's good to make them
Yep.
say that hey,
Yep.
give me feedback if anything seems weird.
he was struggling. I was like, tell me why you're struggling. What could I have done better?
Right,
He's like,
right.
well, you could have done, and you're right there with him in the moment.
But
you
notating
can't
for
do it
them
there,
is
but
what
like,
they. But notating for them is standard procedure. That's what they go by.
you have to.
Yeah.
There's, can be upwards of like 100 musicians in a room. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way you're gonna just jam on A.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like, so,
Cool.
but one thing that composition and film scoring appeals to me so much is total control. Which,
Yeah.
if anyone knows me, knows I love total control.
Sure. Well, no, it's a good thing
So,
to have if you know what you want.
So when you compose a piece, you write every note for every player exactly the way you want it, and they perform it that way perfectly.
Yeah.
And if they have a question, they ask you. They
Yeah.
don't just try to make up shit.
Right.
Oh, what if we tried this? You don't know. No.
Yeah. Especially when you're doing a lot of people. I
Hey,
can see how
I've
that.
spent a week on this. I know, or a month or a year, whatever it is. I know exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I've thought through every possible idea.
Yep.
You're not going to. Sometimes,
Like you are the creative. That's the
Yeah.
thing. You're not looking for the creative element anymore. You're
and
looking
you're bringing
for
in
the,
performers to play your creation.
You're
and that's why it
looking
ends up
for
sounding good.
executioners.
So, yeah.
Which sounds fucking harsh.
Executioners, dude.
That sounds harsh. Speaking of executioners, Game of Thrones. Jesus. Anyways,
What if after
No,
every
no, no.
conversation we always segued back to Game of Thrones?
oh, it's possible. There's a lot of material, but I was
And
just,
anyway, that's my approach to recording. But dude,
I was just
Game
thinking
of
about
Thrones,
the last
dude.
episode. Yeah. No. Hey, I wanted to talk
yeah,
about.
good point. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the shows I saw this weekend, dude.
Yeah. Let's transition. By the way, to wrap this up real quick.
Okay, wrap it up.
If anyone listening has any questions about any of this stuff,
Discord.
join our Discord. It's super easy. You
Yeah.
just go to
Or
musicianstalkshow.com/sign
Instagram.
up.
If you just have a quick question, whatever, you're not going to be using Discord all the time, hit us up on Instagram. But we do encourage Discord because we can get back to you quickly on there.
Yeah.
Instagram is more of a maybe, we'll get back to you within the day.
Instantly.
But
It's basically like a group text
yeah,
for all of our
that's
listeners.
the greatest thing. And then you'll
Yeah.
get information from other people too. Maybe you can get
Yeah.
a chat going. So that's
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
But again, that link is musicianstalkshow.com/sign up. And all you got to do is sign up for our mailing list, and that link automatically gets sent out. You sign up to the Discord,
And then
you
you're
can
ready to
ask-
go.
You can ask questions like Becca did, and we answer them. So
Easy.
If you guys ever have follow-up questions, that's the best way to get in touch with us.
Yep. So the shows that I saw this weekend. First of all, I was really stoked that I got to see the Hawthorns. I knew they were playing at the Visualite.
Yeah, you like them a lot. They
They're-
played Visualite
I-
several times now.
They have?
Yeah, they played at least one other time.
Oh, maybe one other time. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure though. I wouldn't be. I
Is
would.
it just their show, or are they playing with other people?
They were playing
or-
with Funk You. This is a funny name. And all the bands were good.
Can
that
I start
saw.
a tribute called "Fuck You," the Funk You tribute?
That's good, actually.
Yeah.
No, but Funk You's good, and they're out of Atlanta, I think. And the Hawthorns got the opportunity to open up
Just
for 'em.
knock my glasses off my face.
Take it easy on yourself, buddy. But yeah, so they opened up for him and played a killer set like always. A couple cover songs, but their originals is really where I'm at. I really like their style. I like the guys. They're good guys. And also, I posted some stuff on our Instagram story, which will be gone by the time you hear this anyway. So maybe I'll post it again. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe we could post it in the actual post.
Oh, that's a good idea.
For
We'll
some
make a
longevity.
quick little post maybe. And then I also saw, so they killed it and it was awesome. And I reached out to those guys, told them what a great job it was and had a good time. They came and had a drink. And then I saw Shaman's band, a mutual friend at the Playroom, drummer. I always hear him jamming all kinds of crazy things. So like just music across the board. I don't mean crazy like crazy music, but like just anything. He'll drum to anything. And he's amazing. He blows me away every time. I went to one of his shows. He had 2 shows this weekend, and I was, going to the Hawthorne. So I made it to one of his shows and blown away, dude. Like just how many. I don't know if the situation was. I feel like I remember the show was Gina Chambers, and she's a singer, and they just did like she's got originals and everything. I'm almost positive.
Where was
they
the
did
show?
this cover show, and it was at Sydney's in Uptown Charlotte. And it was a wine and martini
And I
bar.
only saw a tiny clip. I don't even remember it, but it was kind of like a jazzy thing.
Yeah, all kinds. Like, they
Pop
did like
jazz.
a lot of pop. Yeah, a lot of pop tunes, but in a jazzy style. And the
kind of
singers,
just a chill cocktail kind of vibe, right?
and they killed it for that venue too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just was blown away by the talent of everybody that got up there. They had multiple singers, and I believe that the singer said at one point, Gina Chambers said, that she was a little worried about her voice, like she had maybe like feeling a little sick or a little, not going to perform well. So she calls some of her friends, and had some really awesome singers ready to go. Like her brother sings at a church, I'm pretty sure, and he came on and sang some amazing. And then several of her friends. But I was just blown away that, first of all, by the band. The band was so tight and so good. And I know that this is kind of like a thing. I'm pretty sure they're hired, and they're all friends and they know each other and stuff. But they just get together and they play, and they do one rehearsal before the show, like the Duff Gig.
That's funny. That's what I was about to say exactly.
I know you were.
It's always it's always
because I know you were going to relate right there.
It's always interesting or really fun for me when you get a bunch of really top-notch players together.
Yeah.
I mean pros.
Yeah.
Touring pros.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get together and you jam with them and you're like, oh, this is easy as fuck.
Yeah, it's going to work.
I'm used to holding hands and babysitting, and these guys showed up knowing what's going on, and you practice 20 minutes and it's done.
I love that.
It's like, dude, everybody knew it. Now what do you want to do?
And you
like,
could
you guys want to go eat
on these guys. And you could just see it on these guys. Everybody knew their shit, and everybody was just so.
Here's the thing. With the Duff Gig, it was almost like... I'd say like almost like a game of chicken. Like who's going to show up the least prepared?
Right.
As long as I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Dude, so I pounded it.
Yeah, I know you did.
I was working extra hard all, a month in advance.
And it's so much
solos note for note, and
it paid off.
It paid off because in rehearsal we were doing I'll never forget it. We were doing what's the name of that Cheap Trick song? I Want You to Want Me.
Yeah.
Cheap Trick. Can't say it. But the solo's weird, way outside my normal style.
Yeah.
A lot of like double stops and sliding and sixth and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yep.
And I learned it note for note because I had to. And when we got into that rehearsal and I was jamming it, Hux, the singer, looks over at me and with that face like, all right, this dude came to play.
That's good. That's a good feeling.
I was like, that's what I needed.
And when that happens,
I'm not going to be the guy that's like, what's this guy doing here? He doesn't belong here.
Right. And then when that happens too, when you get that look and that feel, everybody's like approval, the nod of approval, I'll say. Then when the practice is over, everybody's like hanging out and talking, and you're like, they feel good about it. They're like happy with you. Everybody's happy with each other.
So it was like a 48-hour period. That happened over the whole thing because everyone showed up prepared. Everyone was getting looks like that from everyone.
Yep. And
everyone was like, all right, dude, you know what you're doing.
Everybody was happy.
And there was no bad vibes. Yep. Everyone was like just laughing, hanging out, having a good time, and it was one of the best experiences of my life.
And why not have that every show? Like, why not always be prepared and always come like that and just get it done?
That's my philosophy.
Yeah, that's the way to go, man. So, anyways, amazing shows, both of them, and I was so happy that my friends came through because I don't want to give away too much, but both of those shows I didn't have to pay for it. Like they let me in, whatever. I was on the list.
The Visualite and the
Sydney's, which is a less of a more formal club, but it's a wine and martini bar.
Visualite's a theater.
But Visualite's a theater, and I was on the list, so it was great to be able to go see my friends.
I have heard
and,
the sounds bad in there. Were you agreeing with that or disagreeing?
There is some.
I don't remember who told me that. It might have been you.
Yeah, I don't think it was me. I've generally been okay, but I did hear some people say that the sound wasn't great. But I'm not saying that there always sounds whatever off. But
I've never been there. Greta Van Fleet paid there for like $5.
Let's go there sometime. Let's
$10.
find a show sometime and go there because it's a cool venue. I think Ellie maybe would have fun there.
Really?
Seriously, I think it's kind of be your club.
Where is it?
Up in Charlottetown Road, right next to CPCC, basically. I don't know if you know where that's at, right in downtown Charlotte.
Oh, roughly. Yeah.
I shouldn't say downtown because Elizabethtown Street or Elizabeth Street. I don't know. One of those streets. I think it was Elizabethtown, not Charlottetown.
I got you.
But anyways,
here come the yawns.
Yeah, well, keep that shit to yourself, bro.
Hadn't been as bad since we're outside, dude. We should consider podcasting outside every week. This is fantastic.
As long as it doesn't sound terrible, I'm good. Let's
we're gonna.
Back.
This may sound bad
because we're going through the Zoom, and it's just a portable recording rig.
But also, there's a lot of sound
going
around.
through.
There's a fountain going.
What do we usually use? Your Focusrite?
Yeah, we usually just go straight interface.
Yeah, so that is a beautiful sound. This is more portable.
Yeah.
We do what we can.
We usually only whip the Zoom out if we have to talk on the road or whatever. So
it's totally worth it.
It's a good little unit. So we were having a little bit of what does Honeydew podcast?
I want to talk to you about that when we get into.
I'm looking at my notes here, and we share a note and we constantly update it.
Yeah.
And I saw he added something that I had no idea what was.
You want to start the subject first, and then I'll explain what the Honeydew project.
Yeah, let's transition.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have played music there.
Elevator music.
New topic. All right, we're talking about commitment / the long game.
Yes. This is
we were actually talking about this for like 20 minutes before.
Yeah, because
those
comes
2
up
liters of water. Well, those are long gone, but this liter of water is catching up to me. I'm gonna have to go pee in a minute.
That's fine. If you have to take a break, I can maybe hold it, or you can just hit pause.
You'll hold my pee for me?
No. Hold the conversation,
or hold something else for me.
Whoa.
Are we going together?
Stop it.
We're going to have to hit pause. All right, and we're back.
I didn't touch anything.
No, we did not hit pause. I was just making a joke.
That's funny.
It's funny if you like podcasts. We were talking about commitment.
Let's get through this, and then you can go take a pee break.
No, we're good.
The commitment long game thing is trying to stay motivated and trying to stay inspired, so that way you bring your best every time.
Let's talk about what actually brought up the thing was this podcast.
Yeah.
I was describing myself as a fireball.
Right.
I burn very bright, very quick.
Yep.
And then I'll burn out.
Yeah.
And and you've seen it if you've
listened
signed
to all
up for
these
Patreon and you checked out the vault, you'll know that I did, I did 20 episodes and then stopped, and then 20 episodes and then stopped, and I didn't go back.
That was a different thing too, and I know you have your excuses for why it was cut up into seasons, but you did make it.
The main
seasons.
excuse was I ran out of guests and I didn't want to put in the work.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, there you go. That's now honesty right there.
But now I have another person I can play off of, so we can just keep going indefinitely.
Exactly. And that's what we were talking about, pulling each other up, like when one of us isn't feeling so full.
So when
motivation.
I burn out and I'm feeling like I just don't want to do a podcast this week, Matt's like,
yo, I got some shit to talk about.
We're doing a podcast.
Or whatever, right, yeah.
So the point of the commitment is like...
There's no giving up. There's no stopping.
Yeah,
so
that's not an option. So whether you want to do it or not is irrelevant.
Right,
we're
so
doing
if Dallas says, I don't want to podcast today, and also there's like a real reason he can't podcast or doesn't want to podcast, like if it's legit something that I can understand, I'm gonna be there.
It's only happened like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's been mutual, I think, when those times happen. It's like, oh yeah, well, I can't do it either, so, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff happens, and it's not very often. Like, we try to make it every week.
3 times.
Yeah, so...
We've been doing this a year and a half, almost.
Yeah, so it's not bad.
Year and 3,
almost
4
a year and a half. Yeah, we started February, right?
Yep.
So, but yeah, so it's good to have a partner feed off of, and I think bands work that way a lot. Like the way you keep your bandmates motivated to show up for practice, to learn new stuff, to practice on their own. Like that's one of the.
We're
things.
Getting into that in a minute.
Yeah, so that's really part of. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. So we separated it up a little bit, but the idea being that motivation is not a given. You're not going to always feel like you want to do it. You're not going to always have the energy.
Jocko Willink talks about this a lot.
Amazing.
Discipline is, or sorry, I just gave it away.
Yeah.
Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what needs to be there.
Yes. Discipline gets you back.
Here's the deal. Like we're disciplined in our podcasting habits.
Yes.
Our motivation is not always there. No. We do it anyway.
Yep.
And sometimes it's maybe not as good of a show as it would have been if we were super excited, but we still get in there and we get it done.
Sometimes when you don't want to do it and you show up and you do it and you're like, oh man, that was so great. Yeah. I'm glad. I don't know why I didn't want to do that. Like,
I needed this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why didn't I want to do that?
I feel that way with a lot of the interviews. There's always like this weird moment of not dread, but like, I wish I didn't have to do this. It's like a 20% that
it's
right
nervousness.
Before the interview.
It's nervousness. One thing. Like,
and after the interview, I'm like, that was the best.
Yeah. You're talking to somebody you've never talked to and you're not sure how it's going to go and you don't want to blow it. Like, there's that nervousness, right? Plus, that's where some of the dread comes from. Plus, the attentiveness you're gonna have to put into it. You're gonna have to be on. You're like, all right, I can't slack. I can't be like.
It's a mental thing for sure.
It really is. So, but always afterwards, man, I'm always like, man, that was so good. I don't know why.
It's especially rough when we have. Some days we had like 3 interviews in a row. Sometimes, a lot of times we have 2 in a row. Most of the time we only have 1.
Right.
But
we got good at those for a while. Like when we first started up, we had such a good list of.
We had 1 week where I think, or 2 within a 2-week period, we did probably 12 interviews.
Yeah, and we got good, man. Like when we rattle them off like that, that's when you start losing that little feel of dread, which goes to show you.
It's more like showing up to work. Like, all right, here we go, hit it. Like, I'm on.
Doing it. Yeah. So, but anyway, so you got to keep the long game in mind and always be thinking that, like, there's no excuse to not do it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
And we talk about this a lot on this show. And Harry Myrie was the one that put it to me best, I think. He was talking about how the game of music is not about who's the best. It's about who can take the most hits and keep showing up.
It was Harry Myrie. I remember that. That's a game of war of attrition.
War of attrition. And a lot of things are like that. But like, you don't have to be the best. But if you just refuse to go down,
consistent.
You'll be fine.
Be consistent. Show up every time.
Just keep showing up.
Yep. Yep. You're gonna learn. You're gonna adapt. You're gonna evolve. Human beings have such a weird ability to overcome. Like, we can really do like a lot of things. Like, faced with adversity will bring the best out of you. It's like so crazy how that happens. And just putting yourself through the I mean, I would say it's a somewhat of a form of torture to do something you don't even want to do. You know what I mean? Like, you just do it anyways. It's
a form of building discipline for sure.
Yeah, but it's like,
now you want to do things you want to do.
It's almost like but I would say the mindset it takes to make yourself do it is like a form of torture. It's like, well, you're doing it. Like, it's like you have to almost be somebody else outside of yourself and go, no, you're doing it.
I was listening to Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, and he had Nora Jones on the show.
Yeah,
and she said, her mom, she wanted to do piano, and she got like a month or two into it and decided she didn't want to do it anymore. And her mom said, "Nope, you're doing it for 5 years. And if after 5 years
That's a
you
good
want to
point.
quit, you can quit."
That way, you know, you put in the time
And she
to
did
know.
quit, but then she went and ended up going back later. But obviously, she's a phenomenal
The thing
pianist.
is that you put in the time to know, and you're not making an uneducated decision or a lazy decision. You're not just making a decision because
Yeah.
today you don't feel like
oh,
doing
hey,
it.
this got hard,
Yeah.
and this is actually going to take work. I didn't realize that. I see
Right.
that with all
Yeah,
my
of
students.
course.
All my students. They
Just
immediately
assume-
get frustrated when the results
Here's
aren't
a
instant.
good rule of thumb. Just assume anything that's worth doing and putting a lot of time into, somebody else is doing it. And you have to keep doing it. If you're not willing to put in all the time to do it, you're not going to beat that other person.
Oh,
who's
one of my
putting all
favorite
the
quotes
time
of
in.
all time. It might still be on my Twitter
I
profile.
like it. I know what it is.
It's when you're not practicing, someone else is, and when you meet him, he'll win.
Yep, that's one of my favorites for sure.
I love that
And you've
quote.
had that for a long time. I think
I think
maybe
that's still my Twitter bio.
Yeah, it's great.
It's been my Twitter bio for like 4 years.
Okay.
Mostly because I'm never on Twitter.
So I want to share this podcast with you guys.
Yeah, tell me about
it's,
this.
It's a new podcast, and it's I think there are 18 episodes in, and the idea
called Honeydew Podcast, and that's honey spelled normally, do DEW.
Yeah. And what that is a subsidiary or a sister podcast of Your Mom's House.
Oh,
And
really?
it's- Yeah, with their friend.
So it's Tom and Christina?
It's not Tom and Christina. They've
Oh,
both
is it
been
Josh
on the
Potter?
podcast. They've both been on that podcast, but it's their friend, and I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Is he Josh Potter,
No.
comedian friend, or
Yeah,
no?
he's a comedian friend, and he's been on their show a couple times. I'll look him up real quick. But what I wanted to say about the premise of the podcast is great, and obviously he's a great host. When I can think of his name, but the premise is basically that all successful people have a shitload of stories of them failing and struggling and embarrassing moments, right? Like
Yep.
it's not a scot-free ride. Everybody who's
Yeah.
gotten somewhere that's worth like what you look up to and you go, wow, man, like they've really done something.
Yeah.
They have a list of stories I could tell you about when they were
they
not
failed more than
proud
they've
of.
succeeded.
Yes, exactly.
That just tells you how many
Everybody
times they
has.
tried, yeah.
And that's the thing is you got to remember that when you fail, it is not the end. It's not even close to the end. It's actually the step forward almost. Like you learn what not to do almost. Ryan Sickler was the comedian.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Sickler.
Sickle
and-
cell, they call him.
yeah, and he's a great comedian. He's a great host of that podcast. And I love that they just make a list of basically like, all right, man, make a list of embarrassing stories you have, and we'll go through them. We'll talk about them. We'll talk them out and what you learned from them and like how that, played up.
That's actually a great idea for
It is
podcast.
amazing.
I'm gonna check it out.
And 18 episodes in, I think, dude, and every episode
We'll
I've
listen to
seen
Tom's.
is just like, Tom's is great, Christina's is great.
Tom Segura is, I think, one of the genuinely funniest human beings alive, dude.
And the thing is really cool about those two is that they were buddies since early. Like
Oh,
when
really?
they both started in LA, they were
I wonder
friends.
I wonder if that creates any contention. That like
That you
Segura's
hear them
mega
talk about it.
famous
They talk
and
about it. It's
Sip
not.
is-
I don't think it's an issue because they know they
Well, they-
understand how they
yeah.
each got there or whatever. But it is really funny or not funny, but awesome to hear how they like relate to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And tell their stories of moments of failure, moments of complete embarrassment, and maybe some of those moments make you like consider suicide or something. You're just like, man,
Yeah, if you're
is
a
my life
different
over?
person,
Yeah, exactly, right. So man,
One
my
of the
life's
biggest
over,
things I think-
but then the fact that you went on and you
Yeah.
know what I mean. That I just love that everybody has those stories.
Yeah, one
And
of the
it's
biggest things I
humbling.
think that can help you do that is to try not to take yourself too seriously.
It really is very helpful to not say that
If you can
everything,
laugh at yourself and,
everything that I do is not defining me.
Yeah.
That I can be silly and I can be serious. I can be, loving and I can be hateful. I can be all kinds of things. One thing is not going to define me.
Yeah.
So one moment of embarrassment or one moment of a screw up is not going to define who I am as a person.
One thing I really struggle with is someone was giving advice to musicians, and they said, "What you do should not define you."
right.
That's really hard for me because I'm absolutely defined by what I do.
Overall, what
You
you
know?
do will define you. Like overall, everything you do as a collective will define you. That is the case. Like, of course, what else will you be defined by? You don't want to be defined by your looks necessarily. Like,
Who
remember
you
Matt?
are
Yeah,
is the
green
point
eyes.
They were making,
Right.
who you are
But what
as a
you- what
person
you
when you strip
accomplish.
everything away.
But what you accomplish, I think, is what should what you want to leave behind. You know what I mean? If you mess up, that's not gonna be the thing that people always remember, unless it's something terrible.
When you mess up.
Right. Everybody's gonna mess up, right? But I'm just saying that when it happens and you find yourself like, oh man, maybe this wasn't meant to be, and it's not gonna work out. Don't think about it that way. Think about it's like, all right, now I got one thing that I know now does not work, or I know not to do again. You know what I mean? I've figured out. One step of the way, like whether or not I had to learn it the hard way or the easy way. That's one good way to think about it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you have to learn the hard way. Like, and
Let me add
there's
this
no
podcast
shame
while
in
you're
that.
talking. I'm adding this shit right now.
What?
I'm adding this podcast right now.
You're mad at it?
No, I'm adding it.
Oh, I thought you were
Adding
mad
it to
at it.
I'm subscribing to it.
Cool.
And I typed honey ad because I was
Honey
saying the word
ad. Honeydew. Try that.
Honeydew.
DEW. Honeydew podcast with Ryan Sickler. Amazing show. Very inspiring.
Not
And
seeing
if
it.
I can see, I watched an episode or two maybe and didn't even understand what the concept was because I just thought it was another talk show. You know what I mean? So they're just going through the
honeydew is
stories.
one word. I searched honeydew as two words and it did not
it's
come
one
up.
word. Yeah, it's one
So
word.
keep that in mind.
I should have mentioned that
Doug
too.
Benson. Not the biggest Doug Benson fan.
Yeah, not me neither. I like.
You can only talk about smoking weed so much before I'm like, I'm fucking bored.
I like Doug Stanhope.
I don't know his stuff as well. Of course, I know his name.
He's a
but-
genius. He's a genius.
While we're on the topic of podcasts, I was. Did you ever listen to Anna Faris's?
I did not. I need to do
Unqualified.
that. Send me a link
it's
to
okay,
it so
but
that way I'll remember.
It's okay, but the same producers created another one with Topher Grace.
Okay.
And I love Topher Grace.
Okay.
And
Send me a
it's
link.
called, I'll send you a link. It's called Minor Adventures.
Okay.
And basically, he gets famous people to come in, and they do a minor adventure. So the one I'm listening to right now is Pete Holmes, who I love.
Okay.
They create a language together with the guy that created the languages for Game of Thrones.
Nice.
And dude, it's hysterical.
That
Mostly
that
because Pete
sounds
Holmes
like
is
it'd be
hysterical.
fun, yeah.
But
With
but they do
creative
things
people.
like narrate a movie trailer. What are some of the other ones here? I know I'm off topic, but they took a Myers-Briggs test. They officiate a wedding, write a pop song. That one was really cool.
Right.
They work with a real songwriter about how to write songs.
Perfect. See
Take a
how
lie detector test,
You just take
all this
creative
crazy
people
stuff.
and successful people, and you put them in a room and you give them a challenge, dude. And you'd be surprised at what everybody can do. You know what people can actually accomplish. You know, and
But it's super
talented
fun.
people are genuinely malleable to different situations. Like they'll take their talent.
And that is what I was saying about what they do doesn't define them.
right.
You
Right.
know, and that's
Who
what
you are can be
Tosin
more than what
Abasi
you
was
just
saying that
do,
when he was
for
on
sure.
tour with the Generation Axe tour. It was Steve Vai, Nuno Betancourt,
Yeah,
Zach
yeah.
Wilde,
That sounds
Tosin, and Yngwie. I think it was just the five of them.
Okay.
Might have been another one. But he said one thing he picked up on really fast was, apart from guitar, apart from any music stuff, they all had some X factor that was immediately apparent. They
Right.
were just huge personalities.
That makes sense.
You know?
That makes sense. I could see that.
Like you could meet them, not have any idea who they were, not know anything about music, and be like, "This guy's different.
Yeah.
this guy's better than
Yeah.
me." Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, maybe not so much better than me, but it's just like it's brighter, or not
Yeah.
brighter in the sense of smart, like how
Yeah.
like smart they are, but like
I
brighter.
do think
like
a lot of that comes from. I think a lot of that charisma comes
Radiate.
from years of confidence building from people telling you you're the shit. You know,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
if you
have a
tell me
different
I'm the
perspective.
best guitar player you've ever seen 100,000
Every day.
times,
Right.
I'm gonna start thinking it, and
Right.
then I'm gonna walk around like I'm the best guitar player a lot
Right,
of people
yeah,
ever seen.
definitely,
Like, you know?
definitely, that's true, for
That-
sure.
even as hard as you try to stay humble, that's absolutely gonna
Yeah,
happen.
you can't.
There's no way that's not gonna happen.
Yep. If somebody keeps building you up, you will feel like you are becoming.
Same way these
Yeah.
people that constantly get torn down
But
by their
don't you think
family or
that-
whatever, they end up killing
And
themselves. Like,
sometimes
it affects you.
Sometimes like there's the thing where like people lay off because they think like, oh shit, I'm already there. Like everybody keeps telling me I'm this shit. So
That
I'm
is a
I'm
lazy
good.
person.
So
That-
there's
they don't have that X
right? But
factor.
there's that. But then there's also the time where, like I think I try to be like when somebody tells me I'm the shit, I'm like, no, I'm not, but I'm gonna be. Like, and I fucking use that as fuel and I use that for motivation. And I don't take it, you know, like I don't take it to my head. I don't put it in. You know
I
what
learned
mean?
a long time ago.
But
if
if
anyone
somebody
gives you a
does it to you
compliment,
every
you
day,
just say
though,
thank you.
yes. But if
That's
somebody
it.
does it, yeah, and that's a good point because there's not a lot you can say.
Sometimes if you come back with like, oh, I don't know about that, they can almost get offended.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm trying to be nice. What are you being a dick for? Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
No,
kind of
that's
like
a good point. The
I
best
just
answer
learned
is
to be like,
is
thank you so much.
you.
Appreciate. Like,
But I'm talking about the mental state, anyways. Sometimes I have definitely said that, like,
Yeah.
But I try. And most of the time, that's the first thing that pops into my head. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm going to.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
get there.
Whatever goes on your head, of course.
But I have said that in person like that. Like, no, I'm not, and,
Yeah.
I regretted it.
Yeah.
Like, the
Oh,
best
that's
thing
a
to
good
say
point,
is
yeah.
thank you. The best
Yeah,
thing to say is
I
thank
wouldn't
you.
tear yourself down. You know.
It doesn't work. It doesn't help.
It
the person
doesn't come
feel
off
good.
the way you think. We think it's coming off like I'm being so humble right
Humble,
now,
right.
but it doesn't. It doesn't
And that is
come
the
off
best
that
way to keep your head,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily the best thing that they want to hear.
Right.
Well,
No,
you can
they just
tell-
want to
best
hear
thing
thank
you can hear
you.
them.
Or thanks for
thank
coming
you.
out.
Yeah.
So Bill Burr told this story on his podcast, and I cried laughing because it was funny, but also because I've never related to anything more in my life.
Right.
Because after shows, you know, people come up, say, hey, thanks, or good show or whatever. And you just get in this habit of like fist bumping, shaking hands and being like, hey, thanks a lot for coming out. Hey, thanks so much for coming out, man. Hey, thanks for coming to the show. And you just say it 100 times.
Yeah.
And you do it every show. And then Bill said when he went to church on like, you know, Easter or whatever one year.
Thanks for coming out to
it was
the
like
show.
last year. And he went up to get communion. And the priest hands him
already hear this
the priest hands him the wafer, and he goes, "Hey, thanks a lot."
Hey, thanks for coming out.
He didn't say that. He just said, "Hey, thanks a lot."
That's
And
good.
Just, dude,
That's great.
I just died. I just couldn't. It was
like,
it was so relatable.
Just like the good and you thing.
Because
Like
if I
somebody
say
says-
it 10 times, Bill Burr says it 10 million.
Sure.
So it's just
Yeah.
like, it's just habit. Like somebody
yeah.
says something, you're just like, hey, thanks a lot,
It's
man.
almost like that drive-through. I think more people could probably relate to going to the drive-through and the person you think they're going to say "Have a nice day" or thanks, have a nice day.
They say, "Here you go," and you go, "You too."
Or how are you? What if they say, "How are you doing?" Like, "How are you doing?"
yeah.
Or something like right.
Yeah.
Whatever they say, you didn't expect it. You were thinking the other thing, and you just get in the habit
and
of
you just
saying
reply
that.
anyway.
Yeah.
So they're like, here's your food. You too.
Yeah.
You try-
And then you're out of there.
Drive off.
Most of the time, you don't even take the
You
time
drive
to
off looking
repeat,
like a
to fix
complete
yourself.
idiot.
But it doesn't matter. Like that's funny though. You just get used to saying something. We're creatures of habit for sure.
Yep. Rehearsal etiquette.
Yeah. Let's talk about this.
It's kind of tied in a little bit, but
Yep.
let's talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I think
There's a few key rules I think everyone should follow, and I
Yeah.
feel like it should be common sense. For whatever reason, it's not.
it's not. It's not a given that everybody knows this.
First of all, show up and be on time.
Yes.
Don't be the guy that doesn't show up to rehearsal.
Right.
That's just terrible.
It should just be like that kind of like Duff gig. Like, don't be the one. You don't want to be the one
Don't
that's
be
the
the
last
weakest
one
link.
there.
Don't
You don't
let
be the last
yourself
one
be
there.
the
Don't be the
weakest link.
weakest link.
Yeah.
Right. And the biggest thing is too, like one of the things that sparked this conversation we were talking earlier is that. Everybody needs to show up to the practice, and it's important. That's important because what you're doing as a band practicing is practicing together and getting tight and understanding what each other
Yeah.
is going to play and how it's going to feel in a show. Like
You're practicing. You've. It's a given. You've already practiced at home. You show up knowing your parts. You know what you're doing. That's
right.
that's probably the
not what you're
biggest thing.
showing up together to do.
You're not showing up to learn the song. If
Right.
you show up to learn the song, you've already lost,
Right.
and you're an idiot.
Right. And just because you know the song, you practice it at home, doesn't mean you're ready for the gig. Doesn't mean I don't have to
Right.
show up to practice because
Yeah.
I already learned the song. No,
Huge
that's what we're
mistake.
doing
Yeah.
together. What we're doing together here.
I learned
is-
it too, but now we have to get it down together.
Exactly.
And if we all show up ready, we can add cool stuff.
Right.
Like, hey, after the second chorus, we're going to make a quick
Right.
stop.
So your band
whatever.
focus becomes your band practice focus becomes something different. Instead of everybody trying to catch up and trying to get on the same page, everybody's
Huge
on the
waste of
same
time, by the
page.
way.
Yeah, everybody's already on the same page, and what you can do now is enhance the performance. Figure out what
Yes.
you're going to do differently about this song, not just the standard exactly. The
I
song.
know on the record the solo was 8 bars, but we're actually going to make it 16
Exactly.
because we had this cool harmony guitar part we added, like, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You don't know that if you just learned to the record and then
Exactly.
didn't show up for practice.
Right,
Like,
exactly. And you're not going to be
we're
able
like,
to.
dude, I know the riffs, I'll be fine.
You're not going
It's
to be able to
like,
perform
you're going to look like
at
an
your
idiot,
best.
dude.
Yeah,
Like,
you're going to be limiting yourself. The idea to get together is
more
to gel
importantly,
as a
you're
group.
making everyone else suffer.
Exactly. Well, of course, and then the whole show suffers. Everything
Yep.
suffers.
So 5 people are suffering because your dumbass is being a dumbass.
Doesn't want to show
you
up
know?
for practice.
Yeah.
and it really is that. Like you can make plans and say
It's
that
an etiquette thing. To me, it's a
It is.
respect thing.
Yeah.
If I put in 2 hours of work learning these songs and
Yeah.
I show up and it's clear to me that you have not even listened to them, I'm not happy.
Yeah, that's not good. And you've
I'm not
already-
happy at all.
you've
You've
created
basically just told
animosity
me that my time means nothing.
and hijacked practice and decided that practice time now is dedicated to you figuring out the
catching up.
song.
Yeah, and now we
catching up.
can't get anything done because I know the song. Why
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
I learned it. It
How
wasn't that hard.
frustrating is
like,
that? So that's important, man. It's just a respect thing. You're right. Like to keep everybody on the happy with each other.
It's especially frustrating with singers and drummers.
Yes.
Because they don't actually have to be at their instrument to learn the song.
Right.
They can
Drummers,
just,
they
a
can
singer can
listen.
just drive around in the car and sing
Sing
it.
it,
Done.
yeah.
Do it on the way to practice,
Yep.
dude. You didn't even do that.
Yep, yeah.
A drummer, same thing. Now they
Yep.
need to work out specific stuff maybe
Sure,
sometimes,
sure.
but they can get the idea.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
oh, we're going to stop here. But a
Absolutely.
guitarist and a bass player
takes-
rarely can you do it without touching your instrument. Like,
Exactly.
You got to pick it up.
You got to
Like,
pick it up and check it out.
So it's
Look at
harder
the
for-
hand
it's harder
motions.
for us, but-
Because you know why too? Because there's so many different ways to play something on the guitar. Like you have
Yeah.
to work it out and figure out what the right way is, or look it up. Whatever you got to do to figure out what the right way to play the song is.
For sure.
You're not going to just show up and just be like, I know it's an A D G.
Yeah, oh, God,
and then
dude.
and try and figure it out. It's,
You know what's
if you're really good, you can
doubly
do it, but
frustrating is
it's not good.
having been in that room with the Stars, as I'll say. I say that because
Yeah.
Evening with the Stars.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, that's what it was called. That's
Yep.
not me being a douche. So the Stars in
Yeah.
air quotes.
Yeah.
Being in that room showed me how it should be.
Yeah.
So now when it's not
Now
that
you have a
way, I'm
new,
just like, you guys,
you have a new
come on.
standard.
Like, I've seen how it should be,
Yeah.
and I've seen how awesome it goes, and the atmosphere it creates.
Yeah,
and everyone being so happy and
hey,
having so much fun.
That's an interesting point, though. Maybe you shed that light with bandmates. I'm not saying that your band needs that talk, but what I'm saying is that you shed that light with your bandmates. That hey, listen, do you know that these pros they don't show up not knowing the songs. They show up, they know the song. Guess what we do? Instead of working on like what the parts are, we actually get to figure out what we want to do differently and how we want to express it ourselves and make it our own. And that time spent is way more valuable because
Yeah.
now you've created something that's your own. You're not just
But
performing like a jukebox.
Most importantly, it eliminates bad vibes.
Yes.
Nothing's worse.
If anything, you just
have
eliminate
5 guys in your
frustration.
band. Yeah,
Yes.
you have 5 guys in your band. 4 of them show up ready to rock. 1 of them shows up not ready to rock.
Yeah.
These other 4, however subtly, are now against this guy.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe that is in
Yep.
the room now.
Yep.
The four of us are
Avoid
looking around
that.
like, dude, what are you doing? Like, we learned.
Avoid
Why are you
that.
being this way? You
Yep.
know, like, now it's just kind of like, face palm, like, I'm done.
Yeah,
Like,
right back to that the Evening with the Stars gig, man. Like that made the whole experience better for the whole weekend. You guys had an amazing weekend. Everybody was happy. I was there. I saw the vibe.
Funny, it
that
wasn't even
was-
a weekend. It was a Wednesday and a Thursday.
Wednesday,
But
that's right. I
dude,
don't remember-
It straight up feels like a week at camp.
It was
like in
right.
my
It was-
head. That's what it
like
feels
you
like
had,
to
I remember
me.
your
Like,
whole thing. You had the rehearsal day.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
it
set
really
up,
did
so-
feel like a weekend.
So,
which was
but,
really
but I
depressing,
remember
but-
being in the room and feeling that vibe, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be a great show. Even before, like, when
Energy.
yeah,
it was palpable. Like, you could feel. You could look around and be like, "We got this. Is a
yeah,
band.
we got a
this
band.
is weird."
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I felt
never
that
met
same
any
way.
of these guys.
Yeah, so that's
I
just
played
a-
with Quentin, of course, the keyboardist.
That's just a little. I mean, I think that talk right there alone everybody should take that into consideration. It's like, I know it feels like it's hard sometimes to get your practice in. Make sure you do it though, because it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Like, in the long run.
I
Make your
personally have been
experience
known
way
to
better.
get cranky when
Sure.
people don't show
Sure.
up or,
Sure.
or don't show up prepared.
Sure.
And it does not make me happy
And
at all.
you've heard
one of my
advice-
biggest pet peeves is when I feel like my time is being disrespected.
Yes,
And
of course,
and I
of
get
course.
extremely angry.
Of course, and that's understandable. But you've heard from somebody told you. I don't remember if you remembered exactly who it was, but you said that.
What if it was you?
It
What
might
if
have
this
been-
was you
I don't
telling
think
me
it-
that-
I don't think it was, but
Some really
you
cool
said it to
guy.
me just a
Some
minute
really
ago.
cool guy you know. I don't know if you remember who it is.
Yeah.
But he was telling you something really awesome.
Yeah, do you remember that cool guy that told you something?
He said, I think he said, my name is Matt, or something like that.
He
Like,
started it with like, "My name's Matt, and I want to give you some advice." No, so what it was though was that
Oh, yeah, it
if,
was me.
if somebody doesn't show up, they don't have practice. Nobody practices.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's a
I did
good
hear
thing
that,
too. And there's another.
That's a good tip.
There's another good side to that thing, that is, people know if they don't show up to practice, that the rest of the band's not practicing. The band didn't practice that week,
yeah.
or that.
You don't get to just like, hey guys, not feeling it. Just go ahead and practice without me.
Yeah, I'm having
Nope,
a rough
done.
day. Right.
Done.
Nah, the band
It's not
off,
happening.
the practice is off, and you know you got that show coming up. You know what's coming up, right? So, being the person
I
who
hope you
calls
feel at least a
out-
little bad that you shut the whole party down too. You know,
That it helps you feel bad, and also you understand that if this band doesn't practice before this show, it's not going to be good. That's not how it works. You don't not show
Dude,
up. to
sometimes
practice.
I convince people don't even care about that.
That's
which
crazy.
blows my mind.
That's crazy.
But-
But anyways, that
Anyway,
is-
rehearsal etiquette, dude. Have
Rehearsal
it.
etiquette is so
Have it.
important.
You know.
Yeah. Real
some
quick,
people I feel like don't know what it is, but again, I feel like it should be common sense, dude.
Yeah.
But apparently it's not. So I'll say it, and I'll continue to say it.
yeah,
but,
it's
I
worth
mean-
reiterating, dude.
I don't know where I learned that from. Like, where did I learn?
Experience.
Maybe because I've always kind
being part of
I've
that-
always kind of filled the leadership role.
Yeah.
So maybe I
You
always
see it
had to
from
be
the
the one that
outside
showed
point of
up.
view.
Like,
you see it from the outside too, and you can like see how
Yeah.
it changes things when people are ready and people are not. And like you said, that experience going to
Yeah.
doing the Evening Stars thing,
That was pretty awesome.
That'll teach you alone right there. That like, man, playing and everybody knowing their parts and showing up on time really pays off. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And we made genuine friends.
Right. How about that? Like, just
And we got to
long-term-
just goof off and have fun.
Sure. It made the whole experience
Hux and I
nicer.
kept walking around calling ourselves the talent.
Put in the work.
Like,
Put in the work to prepare, so that way when you do the work, the actual
Yep.
job, it's easy. Like
Yep.
you've already acclimated yourself. You've already conditioned.
so now
yourself.
you're not worried about like, fuck, was that a G or an A? And now
Right.
you're playing off the crowd and having fun and
Right.
looking at your
Worried about how
bandmates.
you're gonna
having
perform
fun.
and make
you
it
know?
more fun
You're
for
making it a
yourself
good
and
show
for
instead of
everybody.
just playing the notes right, because nobody cares.
Yep.
To be honest, nobody cares if you play the notes right.
Right.
Not a popular
That's
opinion.
a very
True
small.
opinion.
That's a very small percentage of what needs to happen when
Yeah.
you play a show.
Yeah, it's surprisingly small.
Yeah.
It's of course a factor, but
You have,
it's
to, you have to be a
surprisingly
player
small.
and you have to play the
Yeah.
song. Like you have
but
to know.
See, that's what people don't understand is that's the baseline.
It is the baseline.
It's like, okay, you're a good player and you know the songs. All right, now let's get started.
Exactly.
You know,
if you miss a
it's
note, it's not
like-
the biggest deal.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
So
Upcoming shows.
yeah, let's just wrap this up and give our upcoming shows real quick. And
Yeah.
That's
What do
what
you
I'm
have
thinking.
on the schedule? What do
Oh,
I have some on the schedule though, don't
yeah,
I?
I know you have one this weekend. I'm running sound for you guys.
That's right. We have May 18th.
Yeah,
We
sorry, I
are
don't remember
at
the date either.
York Tech College. It's
That's
it's
cool
a
that you
college
guys got
right down the road from our
college
house,
gig.
which
They
is
pay
awesome.
well, too, right?
College gigs pay really well.
That's
It's
a
our
good
highest
deal.
paying gig so far.
Nice.
And we're playing 2 hours,
Perfect.
and it's like a community outdoor event. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, less hours, more
Less
pay.
hours, more money.
Perfect.
That's what it's about, dude.
That's what you want.
And that's
and your
actually it's-
reputation is helping that. That's why I think you guys are getting out there.
They found us and directly asked us to do this. We did not pitch to them. We didn't even know this was an opportunity.
Perfect.
They came to us and were like, "Hey, we heard about you guys. We wanted blah 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 blah." And we worked
Perfect.
it out
And you
from
guys are going to be perfect for
So,
that college crowd because I know
should be
your-
fun. We got to
your
cut a
sets, and
few
I know
songs because it's billed as a family-friendly event,
Sure,
and we have
sure.
some, language.
Sure. Stay away from that.
I think
stuff.
they said we can only say "cunt" 7 times from stage.
Oh, you guys 7?
Yeah.
They told me 6. I don't know how
We'll
you guys got
compromise.
that.
Call it 10.
I don't
Call it even 10.
No, that's cool though. That's a good deal.
It's gonna be fun. It's right down the road from our house, which is nice too.
May 18th. What
May
college?
18th. Oh, yeah. It's like in the afternoon.
York
like
Technical
1
College?
PM. Yeah, it's weird. We play 2 hours, like I said, but we play 1 to 2, and then we play 3 to 4, so we get an hour break in between.
Oh,
which is
nice.
kind of
Even
interesting.
better. Break it up. Similar situation, actually. You got any more shows real quick? Wrap it up. Anything coming
I mean,
up?
I don't really know a lot of the details, but I am subbing for a band for 2 shows over the summer. One is May. God, it's
Later.
Oh, you know what? It's the day before that, so it must be May 17th.
17th.
And I haven't even started learning the songs, so I have to learn them this week.
Woo, all right, better put that work
I have
in,
to
bro.
learn like 25 songs.
Dude, are you serious?
Oh, it's not gonna be a problem.
Oh,
dude.
okay.
For the
The
past
stuff you know,
for
too,
the
some
past
of
like
them.
some of them, yeah, I mean, like a third of them. But for the past like 2 years, it's almost been like a second job for me to learn songs. So
I know, yeah, you're getting good at it.
I'll learn a whole set.
You're doing
in a
the
day,
teaching.
you know?
You're teaching kids songs all the
it's
time.
just-
I know.
yeah.
You're all.
And then
the
I have
time
another
learning.
one sometime in July. And what's interesting about these, the only reason I bring it up, July 20th, Saturday, is one of them. This one coming up is a corporate gig.
You have the
which I've
July
never
4th
played.
gig, right? But that's a party.
Yes, you're coming, right?
Yes.
We're working that out still. I
Most
think.
likely.
Yeah. That's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
That's
That's
I
a
want to get you on
private
stage
gig.
to sing like basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a private party. That's
yeah,
going to be a
private
big,
party,
big
yeah.
epic party. But
But it's all the guys from Cullen and Paul and all those
yes.
guys.
What's the band called?
50 Year Rebellion.
Yes, 50 Year Rebellion.
So they have a cover band without Paul, and those guys are doing some songs, and then Paul's gonna come up, and me, him, and Rasan and Kurt are gonna do some songs.
Nice.
I don't know if you met Kurt. And then
yeah.
the LA Maybe's gonna play some originals.
Perfect.
Some other people are gonna come up and jam.
I'll
like,
get up there and sing. We
Different
talked about
singers are
doing
gonna be
some
coming
songs.
up. Like
Yeah.
it's just gonna be fun.
It is going to be
really
fun.
chill.
Yeah, I'm going to make it.
It's just gonna be basically a big jam.
July
but that's
4th is on-
July
is-
4th.
Is
yeah.
it on a weekday this year?
I think it's on like a Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, so
or a
kinda-
Thursday.
We'll see
Thursday.
how it plays out because I got some
Yeah.
stuff. You know my
It'll
personal
be in the
details.
evening. Like, well, you know what? They actually want to do it kind of early. It's going to be like 4 to 8 or something weird.
okay. See,
So,
we'll see what happens.
But afterwards, there's going to be fireworks and hanging out.
Yeah.
And the reason they wanted to do that is they wanted to end and be done and then be able to chill
Yeah.
for the night.
Yeah.
So, we're
No,
used to
that's
we're used to
perfect.
being done at 1 a.m. you
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Right, and that's rough,
so,
man. But
the 2 gigs I have coming up that I'm subbing for, one's a corporate gig, which I've never played, which would be cool, and one's a wedding, which I've never
nice.
played, which is cool.
Perfect. That'll be fun. Change
So,
of pace.
Yeah. Anyways, what
And then-
you got coming up? You got one coming up.
We got 2 coming up. We
Two
got
coming
one
up.
going June 1st at Poor Tap Room, which the cool thing about that is our fan
What day of the week is that?
Saturday.
Saturday,
Both of these
nice.
shows are on Saturday. But our fan, I don't know, we got like one that's awesome fan that's always on our shit.
Super fan, dude.
Yeah,
treat them like kings.
I did. I'm gonna get him a shirt when he comes out. to
They're
see us.
rare.
So shout out to Shareem, and he's going to he put us on
Does
the
Shireen
running.
listen to the podcast?
I don't know. This is like literally within the last week he's found
get
us.
Shareem on the
Put our
Discord
name,
party,
I
bro.
will. And he put us on the list for this one of these band promoters that puts up like, hey, I got paying gigs. What bands do you guys want to see locally or whatever? And he just found our single like the day before, and he put her name down or whatever. And then a couple other friends of mine also saw it and put her name on it once they saw it the first time. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, Problem Barium should play that.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and we got the gig. So I was like, dude, come out to the gig. We'll get your
awesome.
shirt. And he's like, hell yeah, dude. So anyways, he's super cool.
You guys have
And,
super soft shirts too.
Huh?
Super soft shirts.
Yeah, dude. Mad Park
Triple S.
hooked it up now. They're switched to those shirts for good now. Unless
Oh,
you
good.
specifically ask for Gildan, you get those.
I need to actually talk to you about shirt pricing.
Yeah,
in a
we
minute.
need to get some shirts.
Not for this, but
I
for
know
the
we need
LA
lots of
maybe,
shirts.
but yeah.
There's lots of things we need. I know. I need to talk to them. But it always seems like we're like.
Oh, we do have to get the actual too. Yeah, no, it wasn't about that. But yeah.
No, I know, but there's lots of things. Like there's like literally, I want to get stickers. I want to get
Oh, I
like,
got
so many
you. I
ideas
got
I
you.
need to run by them.
Cool.
But anyways, then also July 6th we'll be playing at the Milestone for the first time. So I'm
Ooh,
stoked
nice.
about that. Yeah. We got on with a
July 6th, you said?
July 6th is
Okay,
another
so that would
Saturday.
be Saturday, yeah.
Yep.
So then that means the 4th is a Thursday.
Yes. Oh yeah, duh. I should have just put that together. But anyways, a friend of our band, bass player in Whiskey and Failure, his other band is playing there, and was like, "You guys should just come on with us." And we're
Nice.
like, "All right, let's do
Cool.
it." So we're gonna open them, and we're gonna be like, I don't
Just
know,
2 bands on the bill?
4, I think.
Okay.
4
yeah,
or
that's
5.
pretty standard, I feel like.
And
4
or
5 is so much.
5 is a lot.
4 is a lot, but like,
But I think we might be that like the early opener. Like we might
like
literally
the
get that
first.
spot that was like maybe 20 minutes or something. Like we'll see. We'll see
Those
what
aren't bad.
happens. I hope we can get longer.
I haven't done
but-
those in a long time, but
I
yeah.
know, but I didn't really pick this gig. Our bass player Craig actually hooked this gig up.
That's cool. You
But
guys
it's
are kind of
okay.
working as a group, though.
Yeah, I want everybody to go out there and look for it because then they feel like they're a part of it, and I think it's important. And I know some people won't, like it's not their nature, but that's fine. If somebody
That's a good
gets
point.
us a gig, I'm
Yep.
totally down. But also, everybody has to hear about it. It has to be run through by the whole band.
Yep.
You know what
That's
I mean?
good. Yeah, you
it's
can't
not
just-
one
yeah,
person
yeah.
saying, "Oh yeah, we got
You're
a
not
gig
just
on July
signing
6th now."
contracts and shit. Yeah, yeah.
No, we don't have a gig until we all
Yeah.
confirm that we have that day off.
Yeah.
That we all want to do the gig. What are the details?
We have a lot of time-sensitive stuff. Like several times we've had someone be like, "Hey, can you guys play this
We do
date?
too.
Need to know in the next
Same.
couple hours."
Same.
So what we do is we have a calendar system where if I am booked and I cannot play a gig,
You have
I
it
have
on the
to put it on the
calendar.
band calendar.
We do the same
Foz, our drummer, does most of our bookings, so he'll go
Look on the
at the
calendar.
calendar and be like, "Oh, Dallas is booked," and he'll get back to them. I don't even know this
Google
happens.
Calendar, yeah.
I'm not even involved.
Sure.
I don't need to.
You don't need to
But
until
if there's
until it's
nothing
a
there,
serious thing, right?
If there's nothing there, Foz will book it and then let us know.
Same thing.
And then one or two times we had a problem where it's like, "Oh, I actually have a gig that day." And it's like, "You didn't put it on the calendar, dude. Like that's
Right.
on you. Figure it out."
Yeah, now you got to get it out of it.
Yeah, because
So-
we have a system, you know.
And that's the thing. We do the same thing. Kyle's got racing. David's got racing stuff and,
Yeah.
and other things. So like everybody we have this big band calendar. If anybody has dates they cannot do, they have to put those on the calendar. And then if anybody books a gig or like we all decide a gig, we put that on the calendar. Once it's on the calendar, that's it. Like there ain't no taking that off. Like this is
Yep.
our word.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like we're doing this show.
Yep.
And that comes back to the contract thing. Like
Yeah, especially
we're
if you sign a contract. You're
we're
doing
gonna
it.
sign contracts with everybody that we play with to make sure just that it is on paper that.
The places like the Milestone, like those 4-band original gigs where you're going to make like $10, that's where a contract is probably
not
It's probably
necessary.
going to get laughed at, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But
which is their fault.
But
They're
tap
big
room,
douches, but
poor tap room. I am
Yeah.
absolutely going to because I've never worked with them before.
Yep.
I'm meeting with the general manager beforehand, like probably the next week, sometime after work. I'm just gonna go down there and talk to him for a little bit and make sure all the details are straight, what their sound system is, all that, and I'm gonna have him sign a contract because I don't know who he is,
Very
and they're
nice.
just a bar that's
you just want to
hiring
protect yourself,
us.
and it protects them
It
as
does,
well. Make
right.
sure you shows up. You show up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've never had to pee worse in my life. So
Okay, let's go, dude. Let's figure shit up.
I'm gonna go handle that. Any
Awesome
closing
talk
thoughts?
today. No, man, I'm stoked. This was a good podcast, and we got some good progress on the concept record, and I'm stoked for everything.
Awesome, man.
Go pee.
We'll see you guys next time.